we're going to go through 3 essential shots we think you need to be adding into your game. Let's get into it. So we're starting overhead. David, what's shot number 1?
Shot number 1 is actually a slice. Now, slicing the shuttle is, for me and you, an essential thing we need to be doing from overhead. It allows us to manipulate the shuttle, brings the shuttle down a little quicker, steeper, and allows us to be a little bit more deceptive overhead, which is a great thing in badminton. And personally, for me, I off-slice almost all my drops, bar maybe a stop drop. This is mainly because it gives me a bit more control over the angle and speed of the shot from overhead. I can swing quite quick, but that shuttle can still come out quite soft and get my opponent nice and down low.
David, so far you've referenced kind of your slice, particularly within your game of singles, but is it still effective in doubles?
Oh, 100%. I'd almost say, in a way, it's just as important in doubles, because when you're attacking in doubles, you want to look like a threat all the time. We want to look like we can hit hard a lot of the time. Being able to swing fast like your smash and then slice the shuttle and get it to come out a little slower and slow down in front of your opponent is such a key skill to really enhance your doubles attack.
When sometimes people are playing drop shots in doubles, they're always trying to feel like they're moving their opponent forwards, whereas actually we use this slice, it's almost still coming towards them, David, as you referenced. And the reason we're doing that is to actually throw their timing off in the defence. Whereas if we're just hitting the smash at them, that can actually become quite easy to time. But when we start to give them different heights and different paces, that defence becomes much harder.
So let's get into how we're going to hit this shot. And we're just going to take you through the standard slice to begin with, not the reverse slice. The standard slice is a nice, simple shot to play, but it's super, super effective. Now, how do we play this? Well, we need a nice forehand grip. And we're going to look to contact the shuttle on our racket hand side. So for me as a right-hander, I'm going to contact it on the right-hand side. And instead of squaring the face up as we would for a normal straight shot maybe, we're going to look to actually leave it slightly open and contact that shuttle with almost like we're cutting across it slightly. But we're going to come around the side of that shuttle, and that allows us to contact those feathers a little bit, which is going to slow the shuttle down as we swing. Now, if you notice with my swing, I'm still swinging quite quick. Because that shuttle is going to slow down, I want a nice fast swing speed. It comes off the strings quick and then slows down within its flight. Now, a key point for hitting the slice is because the shuttle is going to naturally come down a little steeper, we don't need to actually feel like we're forcing that angle. We can actually feel like we hit it a little bit flatter, and it's still going to come out really nice and steep because we're getting that slice on it. And that sort of reduces our risk taking really, because we're not trying to create this perfect angle with a full face. Now, how can we use this for doubles? Well, let's say I'm on this side where I've got this nice straight attack. I can now use the slice to access the middle of the court in between the two players, which can, one, cause confusion and make it really difficult for them to time the shot. Now, moving on to shot number 2. And this is, Dean, a shot you worked on a lot with me when I was younger. It was something I struggled with a bit, but it's such an essential part of singles and doubles. But we're going to talk about singles here. Now, what's the shot?
It's just a very simple push. And the reason that we're focused on it is because, yes, it's simple to do, but actually we find a lot of people make mistakes in it and maybe don't play it as much as they should do because they feel like it's not achieving that much. But actually sometimes that's okay. Sometimes we don't have to think too much about what we're doing to our opponent, but actually how it helps us also on our side of the court. Now, a push basically means that we kind of feel like we're playing a little bit more into the mid-court and not really offering our opponent too much in the way of options. We're just trying to feel like we're maybe narrowing down the angles if we're playing towards the middle, and we're stopping them playing that tight net that sometimes we see do ourselves a lot of damage.
And it's almost a bit of a, I found this a bit of a mindset shot, Dean, because like you said, it's not doing anything. And a lot of us, when we're playing singles especially, we want to feel like every shot's doing something, every shot's putting our opponent under pressure. When actually, all that's going to do is actually end up, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to give them good opportunities. And sometimes we've got to do nothing. And people are probably thinking, this is such a simple shot, this push, but it's one we see so many errors on and so much inconsistency on. So can you talk us through how you go about hitting this? Yeah,
so I think it's very important to feel that we're taking the shuttle still as early as we possibly can. We're not trying to feel like we have a backswing either. So in the way of approach, I feel like, again, my rackets almost lead my body and the legs will follow it. And it's a very smooth kind of push through the shot. We don't want to feel like, again, we're squeezing the fingers or using the wrist, because you generally associate that more with power. That's probably going to travel too far. And it's also just allowing ourselves a good margin of error. We really don't need this to be skimming the tape. Yes, that'd be great if it went over, but the error rate would also be too high. And this is a shot where we really want that error rate as low as possible, just to feel like we can stay in the rally.
And I think for this shot, distance control is so important. Definitely. Because when we start adding pushes into some people's games, they either hit it too soft again, or they end up actually almost driving it into the mid-court, when actually we'll show you these lines we've got in the court here, but we've got the service line and this nice blue line behind it, and actually that's a perfect landing zone for this push. Forces our opponent to either push back or lift, doesn't give them the net, or doesn't give them a flat drive.
And David mentioned there that we're not necessarily allowing them to play a net shot, but sometimes actually it teases them into playing a net shot, and even though they're a long way from the net, that's exactly what we want from our side, because it gives us that opportunity to get onto that quickly and hopefully play the first tight spin. And lastly, we're going to be going towards the back of the court. Now, Dave, this is a very different type of drop shot to the slice we looked at earlier. And this is very much a neutralising drop shot. Yeah,
I mean, you got to imagine this is a bit like the push we've just spoken about, but at the back of the court. And this is probably a shot we see a lot not used, particularly at sort of club level, sometimes even county level, but is one that is used all the time at the top level. And it's when this shuttle is sort of either gone past us, or we're maybe in a position we don't feel we can actually add a lot of pressure, but want to keep that shuttle coming flat or downwards. And it's this neutralising drop shot. The reason it looks slightly different, it's a little flatter, a little more into court, and it's got the same purpose as this push. We don't want to give our opponent a chance to play a good spin net. We don't want to give them a chance to be able to really capitalise, and we're just keeping ourselves in the rally, keeping it very neutral.
Let's go back to mentality, David. You've already kind of mentioned that at club and county that we don't necessarily see this too often. And that's very much because the mentality is, I've got to hurt my opponent, I'm overhead, I should be doing a lot more, and we would tend to see kind of quite maybe flat smashes coming out here, or almost drop shots coming into the net.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about just keeping yourself going, keeping the rally going, and then waiting for the opportunity and being patient.
But David, talk us through how we're actually going to hit this neutralising drop shot.
Well, let's first talk scenario. This is going to be off, say, a flat lift, maybe a punch clear that's got behind us. So that shuttle's naturally going to be a little flatter. We're going to still contact it as early as possible, but that's going to be sort of maybe just above head height. Big thing here is we let our chest turn towards the shuttle now. We're not going to try and keep this pointing forwards. You're not going to get any control from there. So we're turning into this corner, and then as we're coming around, we're almost swooping around with our racket, because we want to get this nice flat flight. We don't want to be snapping this wrist too much at it. It's going to cause some inconsistency. And then the big thing here is our foot is going to land at the same time we contact the shuttle, and that's going to really help with this consistency. We're looking to play this relatively quick, deep into court, so we can then push back off and recover nice and quickly.
And they just area I also want to look at a little bit there is racket prep. So what we sometimes see when stuff goes behind players is they're very keen to almost follow it with their racket, but that's not what you're doing here. You're kind of feeling like you're drawing that racket back a little bit more into position.
Yeah, because we need to be able to sort of manipulate this shuttle. We can play high from here, we can play cross from here, still neutral shots. If I go too much to the racket, I lose all this control. If I let my chest open up a bit and I can swoop around, I can now, one, create a bit of power if needed, but also manipulate the shuttle to different areas.
So we hope you've enjoyed this video, and just to give you a quick recap on the 3 shots that we have covered. Number 1, the slice overhead, allowing you to have a little bit more angle and taking the pace out of the attack.
Number 2, the nice neutral push, either to middle or out wide, not giving your opponent a chance to play an easy net.
And number 3, a neutralising drop shot, predominantly used in singles to be able to reset the rally and keep a good consistent margin.